Oh yeah, cash out. Oh yeah, cash out.
Good afternoon. It has been a minute since your boy's been on. I want to give a quick shout out to the lead attorney in the chat. I can hear his voice. You need to be online. You need to be live streaming, right? I was watching one of his old live streams maybe a couple of days ago, and he mentioned how much he made in December, and I won't lie to you, I felt convicted, heavily convicted. I'm like, how the hell do you make $50,000 in a single month? I was like, that's crazy. But anyway, The inspiration was definitely present. A couple things I wanted to talk about today. Um, Full disclosure, my Wi-Fi is playing games with your boy. I did a couple tests right before I came on, and it was giving me like 5 megabits and 7 and kilobits. I'm like, unacceptable. But that's the issue with not having access to the router. So, a lot of stuff to talk about. I've been taking notes over the last couple of days. A lot has happened, a lot has changed, and I did want to address a couple things. Uh, First and foremost, something that hit me emotionally, which I'm not a heavily emotional person. First of all, let me verify that my audio is doing what it's supposed to, because I really don't have a lot of time for games. Beautiful. So yeah, you probably heard the news. I'm not sure if you're aware. You might be. But a young lady, age of 30, former Miss USA, Chesley Christ, lawyer. I believe she's from New York City, I believe, committed suicide. If you're anywhere around the military, you're going to notice some trends in the rhetoric, the trends in the goings-ons. But the tracking of mental health, it's a priority for those who are in power, for those who have been in power, for those who have been given authority in certain positions. They're required to track certain things, certain variables, certain words, language. Mental health, it's not something that people care about until they have to. That's unfortunate. Someone who's currently on medication, I'm on my, I would say, second month of being on Zoloft. Hasn't changed my life in amazing ways, but it has taken my edge off, which is kind of the point of why I even embarked on that journey, was to kind of alleviate some of the symptoms of dealing with anxiety. I won't completely blame the military in this regard, but there's a correlation. Somebody's causing something to go wrong. And so with that in mind, I'm highly sensitive to struggle, especially in regards to mental health. My boy just called me yesterday, and he was dealing with anxiety. He had 2 panic attacks, and it's not normal. It's not normal to be panicking. It's not normal to be worrying, for your body to be in a fight or flight response mode, and nothing's wrong. There's something off. So with that in mind, I did want to make a service announcement of those who are struggling. If you're under the sound of my voice, all 5 of you, my DMs are available to you if you're struggling. If you need someone to talk to, I consistently and continuously make myself available in this regard, mainly because I know what it feels like. And it took me going through mental health issues myself to have empathy, especially to the point where I make myself available for the free. I do offer free, well, they're not free, but consults. Links in the description. Patreon links in the description. Cash App, everything's in the description. If you would like contact me, you want to support the channel, everything is down in the description. So that's one thing I definitely wanted to cover. Successful seemingly, yet struggling. Beauty in regards to the hierarchy that doth exist, that many argue against. Is there levels to beauty, or is it all subjective? Is there any rationale behind the objectivity of beauty? Some would say that she had all of it, and yet suicide. How is that? How can you be a lawyer, be amongst the arguably most beautiful women in the world, in the prime of your career, and yet you're still unhappy? What else is there? I personally don't know, but there's a strong reason why I'm getting out, is because if I'm not being fulfilled by my low-paying job, why stay? For what? Constant talk of, I want the 20-year retirement, but yet if you're going to be unhappy for the next 20 years, is it truly worth it? You see people, come back from war and their legs are blown off, the hearing impairments, all these different physical ailments. And then you see them get discharged, and they got a percentage from VA. We're gonna pay you 100% of your benefits, your pay and benefits for the rest of your life. But is it worth it if you can't walk? You can't play sports. You can't chase your kids around. Is it worth it? I don't know. I don't believe any part of my body is vestigial. It's optional. You know, well, you don't need your eyeballs technically to live. That's true. It doesn't make it vestigial. You know, the constant evolutionary talk of, you know, we used to have tailbones and parts of our body, or, you know, our spleens or liver, you know, or we have whatever. All this constant talk of vestigial organs. You can live with a lot of things missing. You can live with no arms and no legs, no ears, no nose, no lips, no teeth. You don't need eyebrows. You don't need hair. You don't need cheekbone. You can just start shaving stuff off. Doesn't make it vestigial. Doesn't make it, you know, unnecessary. It plays a role. It plays a role. I say all that to say this. You're gonna struggle, especially those. I just did an interview with a dear friend. You'll be seeing clips of that coming out shortly. But yeah, mental health. It's something in the water. It's something in the water that most are not addressing proactively. And we're kind of just waiting for things to happen, and then when it happens, we just react and we dance and we play around with it. It's not a game. It's not a game because it comes very quickly. And you look up and somebody in the prime of their life is gone. And I'm like, how? Regina King's son, suicide, gone. And most of us probably don't care as much until it's a family member or a close friend. But when I see things like that, I'm like, I know how I struggle. And I know I have maybe the fingers on my hand I can count as far as people I can hit up and like, yo, I'm struggling. And I know who responds. It's different. It's different. So I'm hyper aware of stories like this where who knows what's going on in people's lives. You look at people and they smile. You look at Instagram and you see all these smiling faces. This is a very smiley generation, selfie generation. And yet behind that, the struggle is hidden. You'll never see struggle on Instagram. How could you? TikTok, it's devoid of it. You see all these smiling faces and those people that are seemingly successful. I look over the fence, I see Lita Turner, I see the Kevin Samuels, I see MTR, all these successful YouTubers. I'm like, Andrew Schultz, you know, Flagrant 2, DJ Academics. I'm like, I see all these people over the fence and like they're making all this money. And I'm like, I'm sitting here enlisted as hell. And I'm like, well, for one, I'm not as consistent as they are. I'm not as dynamic as they are. My content clearly is not popping like theirs is. Stop looking over the fence. Happiness is not over there. It's where you currently are, and you must pursue it. You must create it. You must develop it. You must harness it. And I'm no expert on happiness because I'm not the happiest person in the world. But I noticed correlations, strong correlations, that it's not money that brings happiness. Money solves problems. It's like a ladder or a hammer. It's a tool. One moment you may have abundance. Next moment you have a deficit. But my happiness cannot be based on my bank account. It can't be. Now, it does create options. It does create experiences, which may lead to happiness. But that's a foundation. Anyway, yeah, again, suicide is not... Some may call it selfish. Some may say, you know, you're just creating problems for other people. You're transferring your anxiety, you're transferring your pain to other people. Who knows? But the way I see it, it's kind of like a grenade where you may leave the situation, but it just transfers to, it blows up an entire region. And countless people are affected by it. I met a subscriber yesterday in the gym. And just to hear the words of like, you helped me with this, your information was, you know, it was relevant, it was necessary. It makes me want to come over here and provide value, answer questions. Anyway, shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody watching. This past weekend, I took a road trip, back in my road trip bag, if you haven't noticed from my current stories. Your boys, Team iPhone now. Before I don't want to get too far ahead of my... So, the road trip was dope. Went to El Paso, Texas. My first time seeing into Mexico. I've never been to Mexico. And to be in a city that overlooks, like where I was staying in my Airbnb, overlooked Mexico. Like, and just to see the disparity in wealth, in living conditions, I'm like, you cross 100 yards and you live that way compared to the way what we complain about in the U.S., it's crazy to think about. It's crazy to think about. I'm like, right, Americans, you don't see Americans rushing out of here, like trying to, like, as much as we complain about stuff, you don't see Americans rushing to any other country. Americans just, bro, if I can just get to any other country besides where I'm at, we're creating our own chaos here. We manufacture our own chaos in America. We get bored so quickly, bro. We got too much food in the house. Let me go tweet about something and cause an uproar. It's crazy. But yeah, enjoyed myself in El Paso. Found a dope gym there. Had a great workout. Amazing Mexican food. Really just getting back to my old roots of road tripping, going by myself. Like, I don't need 1,000 people with me. I don't need 2 people with me. I don't need 1 person with me. Up and go. Grab my bag, book my Airbnb, and go. I definitely enjoyed it. It was only like a 4 or 5 hour drive. Found a Whole Foods down there. Like, I was ecstatic about the Whole Foods. Absolutely loved and love road tripping. So I'll definitely be doing way more of that. Probably won't be vlogging all of it, but thanks to my new hardware, and I definitely got to talk about iPhone real quick. iPhone is a thorn in my flesh, to put it lightly. Not only financially, but iPhone is a thorn in my flesh. I switched from the S20 Ultra, Galaxy S20 Ultra, to the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Couple things. First impression, my first thing I noticed, I can see every pixel on this iPhone 13. Every pixel. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it. It has a lower pixel count, and I'm going to get a little nerdy for those of you who don't care. Just we're talking about something different tonight. But I did want to get these kind of announcements out. I love the screens on Galaxy so much more than iPhone. I've never held the last iPhone I had was iPhone 4. That's the last iPhone I had. To jump, 9 generations to the 13 Pro Max, it's definitely way better than the iPhone 4, obviously. But there's certain parts about iPhone, like this hideous notch. I'm like, bruh, stop. The hideous notch, it's alarming. It's too much. I can see every pixel. There's certain parts of having a back button. Like, why do you have a back button? Just let me swipe the screen. Like, certain things about Android I miss, but most of it were cosmetic in nature. But yeah, iPhone is not bad. The camera quality is absolutely amazing. It's the only reason I came to iPhone. It's not the only reason, but the main reason. I'm like, bruh, the camera quality on iPhone 13 Pro Max, S20e, all these, is too much. Amazing photo and video quality. And this is somebody who studies tech, studies cameras. Amazing quality. That was one thing. Battery life. I don't charge my phone at night, mainly because I'm tired of having to find lightning charger, lightning ports, lightning cables. I hate it. But I don't have to charge my phone overnight because this battery does not die. It just refuses to die. I'm like, what kind of sorcery is Apple doing that their phones they give me the same performance, if not better performance, than the Galaxies? It's fast, it's responsive, the refresh rate, the 120 hertz variable refresh rate, everything's there except the phone just will not die. Amazing. The ecosystem. I have everything but the watch. Well, and the iPad. I have everything but the watch and iPad. I used to have iPad Pro, didn't really use it. I have 2 MacBooks. The ecosystem, AirDrop is so dope. It's so dope. For someone who records a lot of content and transfers thumbnails back and forth, and I got to use my email to send it back and forth, AirDrop is absolutely so dope. I'm not a huge fan of the messaging platforms. I sent my boy a link to the video he was in, and I was able to watch the video in the messaging app. I'm like, that's pretty dope. But yeah, it wasn't that deep. But yeah, AirDrop was dope. The screen doesn't seem to get as bright as Galaxies. The nits, I believe, max out around 1,200 nits. Not hugely impressed by that. There has been moments where it just auto dims and it does what it wants. I'm like, bro, I didn't sign up for that, bro. I told you to be maxed out. Why are you not maxed out? It does what it wants. So who knows? But so far, I've enjoyed my transferring to iPhone. I wasn't exactly excited to do it, but I was curious. I was just curious. The hardware is amazing. The cameras are amazing. The software is consistent. It's not the most flashiest, but it's consistent. I'm like, iPhone, And I've given iPhone a lot of flack as far as, bro, y'all slow, dusty upgrades, bro. Y'all still got notches. Y'all still got lightning ports. Y'all not doing nothing crazy out here in comparison to the Galaxies and the Huawei's and the Poco phones, what have you. But yeah, once you experience it, once you get here, and if I just want a quality photo, and I'm like, all I want is a quality photo, I know I'm getting it on the iPhone every time. Every time I click that button, it's not going to be 108 megapixels. It's going to be 12. But it's going to be the most quality picture with 12 megapixels out of any phone on the market. Any phone. So that's my little rant on the iPhone. Still kind of exploring it and, you know, just looking through it, but definitely enjoying this. Live Q&A also. If you have any questions, please throw it in the super chat, or if you want to throw it in a Cash App, what have you. If you want to support the channel, hit me up. My process of getting out of the military. It's gaining momentum. It's gaining momentum. I submitted my SkillBridge application yesterday. SkillBridge is a program where you basically have up to 180 days to work somewhere else while still getting paid from the Air Force or from the military while you're transitioning to a civilian job. So it's a program where you get to be elsewhere while still getting paid from the military. You leave the military environment early and you go work somewhere else while they train you and they help, you know, mentor you into transferring to the civilian world from the military while you still get paid. So the transition is supposed to be in nature smooth as hell. Smooth as hell. And so far, I had orientation last week, and just to hear their zeal and their willingness to help veterans as they transition, because it's definitely not something you want to rush into. You definitely want to research. You want to have your money on 10. But to see how much they were willing and ready to help and to help you with that transition, it definitely kind of eases your mind. But yeah, I signed up for a program. I'm not gonna get into details at this point. I don't like getting my hopes up, but we'll see. We'll see. I plan on Palace fronting instead of Palace chasing. Palace front is simply where you transfer at the end of your contract directly into the Guard, rather than Palace chase, or opposed to Palace chase, where you transfer wherever you are in the middle of your contract. You go straight to the Guard from active duty. So instead of going now, instead of going now to the Guard, I will go later to the Guard. So you still get to go to the Guard. You still have the same, you know, options, except it just happens later, because unfortunately my package got denied because of Manning. And I don't want to go on a huge rant on that, but I'm like, bro, I can't affect Manning in my office. I can't affect Manning in my career field. Why would that be a reason why I don't get something that I qualify for? You guys man the offices, so if we're low manned, man us. Anyway, there's that. And then lastly, the thing I really want to talk about on this live stream is my relationship status. I took a lot of notes. I am one who enjoys self-reflecting. I practice self-awareness. I practice blaming myself. I practice trying to look inwardly before I point the finger. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Accountability. Accountability. Shout out to my boy Tom in the chat. See you, Red. This is a topic that has to be addressed, mainly because the current culture, relationships are just, everybody's talking about relationships. Why not? Why not? I'm monetized. Why not? My relationship lasted roughly 5 months. The longest relationship I've ever been in was 5 months. So I pretty much tied it. I went to my relationship, and one of the first things I said on my first date was, we fail to enjoy relationships because of the belief that they should be permanent. I'll say it again. We fail to enjoy relationships because of the belief that they should be permanent. I don't own anyone. No one owns anyone, at least they shouldn't, in the age of emancipation. So now we're in an age where we try to own people. We try marriage, and we sign a contract, and like, you can't leave me. And if you do, it's going to cost you money. I've struggled for the longest trying to figure out, how does marriage benefit me? For the longest, I asked the simple question: name one thing that benefits only the man in a marriage. And to make it more broad, to include more people, Name one thing that benefits the person who makes more money in a marriage. The person. I struggle to find any benefits to marriage outside of what benefits the children. Especially in 2022. This is not the 50s, not the 60s, not the 70s. It's 2022. So I search far and wide. I search everywhere, trying to find benefits. I'm like, where are the benefits to marriage? Are they anywhere? Do they exist? Should we be getting married? Should I be pursuing a long-term relationship? I just still don't have an answer. I still don't have an answer yet. Number one reason, and this is in no particular order, so I probably shouldn't say number one reason, but a major reason, a major cause that my relationship of 5 months failed was because I was being a nice guy. One of the hardest things to do is answer the question, why did your past relationship fail, without blaming your ex? Ask anyone, why did your past relationship fail? You cannot blame your ex at all. What did you do wrong in your relationship? Very rarely will you hear anyone say, "Oh, I was toxic. I was very toxic in my relationship. I was very uncooperative. I was narcissistic in my past relationship." It was me. I was the narcissist. I lacked empathy, which is the definition. Most people don't think about that. I was the problem. I could not get along with people. Most people can't arrive at that conclusion because they're so busy. My ex did this. My ex didn't do this. My ex should have did this. I'm a recovering nice guy. I've made mention of the book No More Mr. Nice Guy by, I believe it's Dr. Donald Glover, I believe his name is. This book haunts me every time I read it. Because whenever I think I'm making progress, because I operate off principles and philosophies, whenever I think I'm making progress, I read that book again. I'm like, yeah, I've missed the mark completely. I go out into the real world. I test my theories. I test my principles. And I get results back. And I look in real time and I notice, yeah, that doesn't work. Keeping peace doesn't work. Holding in your issues, your problems, things that make you upset, things you don't want, things that you're not okay with, it does not work. Especially for the sake of peace. I was that person. And I was asked constantly, on multiple occasions, Ray, tell me what you're thinking. What's wrong? What's bothering you? What's on your mind? And for the sake of peace, I said, nope, nah, it's cool. I'll overlook it. Don't worry about it. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. A lot of talk of, all right, what's the opposite of a nice guy? An asshole. A guy who just, he doesn't care about anyone. A narcissist. Or, all these different toxic masculinity, all these terms are thrown around. And so we try to fix an extreme with an extreme. It doesn't work. We see this in politics. It does not work. I'm going to take this extreme, and then because that extreme didn't work, I'm going to fix that extreme with this extreme. There's feminism, the radical feminists, and then I'm going to take that side and balance it with MGTOW, men going their own way. They're two extremes. They're both wrong. The radical form of any ideology is wrong. There's no balance in extreme ideologies. The answer is different than both. If you're cold, you don't scald your skin. You don't turn on 212 Fahrenheit water. Bring it to a nice boil. No. Being passive. I made a video on living a life of desperate. What was the term? It had to do with being passive. I can't think of the term exactly right now. Where you want something, you desire something, you want change, but you're unwilling to confront the person or the situation. Guilty. I had something called a buffer, where something would happen, didn't like it, be pissed secretly, be angry secretly, just overlook it. It's cool. I'm rational. I'm logical. I'm willing to give grace and mercy. And I look at it from afar. Do I address it? Do I confront the situation? Or do I let it go? You will never get changed by tolerating something. Confrontation is a seed for change. If you want change, you have to say something. You have to do something. You have to go different direction. You have to confront it. Being passive. Oh, well, if it happens, it happens. Everything happens for a reason. If it's for me, it's for me. All these cliche, vague sayings that mean nothing. Well, it's possible. It depends. Maybe. Probably. Who knows? Just pray about it. Sleep on it. Get you nowhere. It got me nowhere. I try to see the good in people. And I'm like, no, you know too much. Behavior is relative to what's accepted in a given environment, especially in regards to consequences. I'm in the military. I have rules to live by even when I'm not at work. There's rules. If I get a speeding ticket on base, it's different than getting a speeding ticket off base. It's much different. Much different. There's extra rules on top of mine. So I have rules and regulations I have to live by. And so to even think that someone who's civilian can relate to those fences and ceilings and floors, and I'm trying to explain a certain situation. I'm like, they won't get it because it's like a woman trying to explain to me, this is what it's like to give birth. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I hear this probably the most on social media, and it drives me to high hell to hear it, but it's relevant. I would even dare to say it's true. And it's something I 1000% guilty of. It's in the book, and it's also in my actions. Losing yourself in the relationship in pursuit of someone else. Almost to the point where I become toxic because I don't have a life myself. I'm sure you guys noticed the content on this channel dropped immensely. Road trips, I stopped doing them. Editing, vlogs, I stopped editing. I stopped posting them. I changed my whole life around because of someone else. And not that in certain situations there shouldn't be compromise, but as a man, it doesn't work. It does not work. I tried it. I've witnessed other people try it. The majority of cases, it does not work when you lose yourself completely. Especially in regards to the reason why someone got with you, it's probably because of the way you were behaving. Behavior just being actions over a long period of time. So if someone gets with me because I love how passionate you are, I love how you're ambitious, the way you live your life, you live spontaneously. And then when I get in a relationship, I stop doing all those things. I stopped working out. I'm like, I got with you because I liked your body. I liked how fit you were. I liked how disciplined you were. Now that I'm in a relationship with you, I no longer have those things. So now I lose the incentive to be with you. It's kind of shallow, but you get the analogy. Most people will stop doing the thing that attracted the person they got. It's like you stop dating your partner because you got them now. I'm like, no, you have to keep them. Success it's difficult to get. Success is difficult to achieve. It's even harder to maintain. NFL careers last maybe 3 years, 2 to 3 years, maybe, if you're lucky. Let alone 22 years. Shout out Tom Brady. Amazing career. 3 different careers, Hall of Fame careers. It's amazingly difficult to be successful. It's even harder to maintain that success long term. Drake, how's he doing it? Who came before Drake? Wayne? Who came before Wayne? Jay-Z, Kanye? Who knows? To be successful for a decade or longer, LeBron, year 19, almost leading the league in pretty much every category. Leading his team in minutes, points, assists. Year 19. That's crazy. It takes a high level of intentionality to maintain success. There's a level of entitlement that I had. And I'm using the word I. There's a level of entitlement I had of once I got in a relationship, I can get comfortable. I thought I was allowed to be comfortable now. I'm like, no, she's not with me for my body, so I don't need to work out as often. She's with me because of my mind. I'm like, no. Self-regulation. I lost myself. At 29 years old, I lost myself. I wasn't honest with myself. I thought I could be okay with just living a mediocre, average life. I don't want that. Not at all. Not at all. So you get to a point. You get to a point where you realize, I'm not doing this for a lifetime. I am not doing that for a lifetime. Living an average, mediocre, down the middle. No, I'll take off-brand. Off-brand's fun. It's cool. I'm like, no. I want the Tesla. I don't want the Honda. Oh, well, you have to earn the Honda. You have to earn the Tesla. I'm like, and what I'm doing, if I changed nothing, would I be okay with my life and the way it turned out? If I changed nothing else. And once I realized I'm not staying in the situation, I'm not putting up with things I don't want. I'm not doing it. I tried to be a stepfather. No, didn't work. It's not going to work. Couldn't do it. I tried. I have no experience with children. Teenagers. I don't have any experience. Trying to be a stepfather just from scratch. I couldn't do it. Not only couldn't I do it, but I did not want to. I didn't want to. I did not make all these quality decisions in terms of discipline to just take on someone else's child. No. Some may call it selfish, narcissist. Cool. I'm not paying someone else's bills. If you save your video game and I come next and well, whose video game is this? Bro, you didn't finish this level? Let me play. And I just pick up your video game right in the middle of the level. It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have the same level of fulfillment. Not that stepfathers are evil or bad or blue pill, all these different terminologies thrown around. You're less than a man if you're a stepfather. No, my dad's a stepfather right now. I have a stepmother right now. It's life. But at 29, no, it's too early. To be it's too early. It's too early. I'm not doing it. I constantly talk about animals and pets and I love animals. I've grown up with dogs my entire life. I'm just at a point now that if I want a dog, I would get one myself. If I don't have one, I'm not going to be impressed upon with someone else's. When I lived in DC, I was a pet sitter. And what was the name of that? It was like Roof or something. I can't remember. But yeah, I used to dog sit pets and get paid for it in DC. I'm like 30-pound limit. 30-pound limit. 30-pound limit. And really not 30. I mean like 15-pound limit. But at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, I can give the dog back. And my clothes weren't covered. Like, it was just constantly, I found myself in a place where I'm like, I'm not happy. And it's not even my choice that I'm unhappy with. It's someone else's choice. I'm like, why am I unhappy? And I'm not even making the decisions. I'm letting decisions happen to me. I'm like, what is happening to you, man? You are so nice that you're willing to uproot your life and do what someone else wants you to do. No fault of their own. No fault of anyone else's but mine. It took me a minute About 5 months. But once I realized, no, you get one life. You get one life, just like everyone else does. Make your own decisions and live with the consequences. I make the decisions and I deal with the consequences. That's how it works. Some people choose a career over having children. That's their choice. It's also your consequences, good or bad. And once we take accountability and realize everything's my fault, all of it, all of it, my failed relationship, my fault, no one else's, my fault. And you realize I have more control than I was taking accountability for. I'm not blaming other people. I'm not pointing the finger. No, I wish they would have did this and they would take more accountability. I wish they would have. No more. And to sit around and wait for other people to do it, it's my fault. It's my fault. So, I like the current place I'm in. Still in a place of growth. Still in a place of prioritizing my mental health. But once you realize you are in control, you're in control. Especially when I went to El Paso and just looking over the fence, looking through the fence and seeing how other people are living their day-to-day life, their normal. And I'm like, what am I complaining about? Slow Wi-Fi speeds. Ooh. What's there to complain about? I have control. For me not to take control and then blame someone else, this makes me a child. Makes me a child. Relationships are difficult. I don't think they have to be, but I think there's a default nature to two people coming together, at least two, minimum of two, and having two wills and deciding whose will is going to win. I tried to go into a relationship and say, I'm going to give someone else the leverage. My mind doesn't even let me sleep at night with that dynamic. It didn't work. I tried to be nice and kind and giving and sacrificial. It did not work. It didn't work. I tried to be the guy that every woman would take home to their mom and say, this guy, he treats me so well. It did not work. And I'm the last person to turn into this MGTOW guy and, oh, no, I'm done with women. Hell nah, man. Hell nah, man. Your boy is not going nowhere. But once you realize, nice guys finish last every time. Every time. I'm struggling to find exceptions. I'm struggling to find exceptions. I would read books that contradict my own theories, and I'm like, well, that might be true, but I'm gonna try it this way, and I'm gonna try to be kind. I'm gonna try to be nice, and no, it didn't work. People that are kind and nice and empathetic and warm and inviting, they die first. You don't see them in nature by themselves. They die first. And this is usually the evolution that it takes for most men to go through, and a lot of women, honestly. But speaking from a man's perspective, this is the evolution that we usually go through. Is we start off trying to be this ideal person, and like, how can I meet their need where they're at? And you get good at it, and you forget about your own needs. You overlook your own needs. You're like, well, I have needs too. I have wants too. But you put those on the back burner to pursue someone else's, and you think they'll pursue my needs because I'm pursuing theirs. That's called a covert contract. I am the king of those. I am the king of covert contracts. I secretly want something. So what I'm going to do this for them, and in hopes that they discern what I'm really asking for. And by me meeting their need, they'll meet my need, and then we're both happy. It does not work. It didn't work. How is somebody supposed to know that they're supposed to do something for me, and that's the reason why I'm doing something for them? It doesn't work. Stop it. Stop. Everything that's called toxic and no. What if that works? What if that works? I'm not here to say that I'm gonna just become this evil, evil person. But there are a lot of things that are in my nature. A lot of things that we think is true, it's not. We look at relationships and we compare it to Disney, and we say, "Oh, if the Disney Channel can do it, and if they can fall in love, and they find the frog on the side of the road, and then now they kiss that frog, and the frog pays all their that's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale. It's not true. It's not true. The person you want probably doesn't want you back. It's the truth. It's unfortunate. You know, the constant saying of choose who chooses you. Most people don't want who chose them. It's just human. We all have friend zones. All of us. We all have friend zones. You look at the black pill, like the community of incels, involuntary celibates, and they claim they can't find anyone. They can't find a single breathing person of the opposite sex to engage with. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure there's no one that you find disgusting? It's an issue. It's an issue. So, that's my little wrap up of the last 5 months of my life. I hold no ill will. I do now set very clear and restrictive boundaries, and I don't go back at all. But I think we all reach a point. I think we all reach a point where you realize it's just enough is enough, and growth is required. Growth is required. And you try and you fail. And that's one way to get to growth. It's not always trying and failing, but sometimes it's trying and winning. It's how you get to growth. You can read all the books on relationships. You can watch all the podcasts you want. You still got to try. And so, obviously, we look at the data, combine that with some accountability, and we realize, all right, whatever that was that I tried, it did not work. Don't do it again. Back to the drawing board, get a new thesis, a new theory, apply the scientific method, and repeat. Repeat. Any questions? Throw in a super chat. I'll look through here, see if we got anything good. I do appreciate everybody coming through. I'm going to try to be more consistent. I always promise that. So I'm going to just stop promising things. What's going on? A lot of things proceeding. How's everyone doing? I know I see a lot of different names in the chat. It's been a minute, people. It's been a minute since I've came on here. Been doing some interviews, been talking to other people, trying to get some other voices on here, some different perspectives. So hopefully those will be coming out soon. I've been editing vlogs all day, teleworking, just juggling. Was there anything I wanted to talk about? I know I had a list of things I wanted to address, and I'm like, I don't get on as often, and so I gotta get everything out. As soon as I get on, I just gotta brain dump. Hope everyone's doing well. Again, if you'd like to contact me directly, all my links are in the description. If you'd like to hire me for a one-on-one consult, just talk, get your situation addressed. If you want a fresh set of eyes on your situation, hit me up. Links in the description. If you want a specific topic covered in a video, links in the description. First link in the description, I believe. Also, if you just want to support the channel, super chats, cash apps, all that's available. Links in the description. I'm gonna go through, see if they got any questions in here. Who we got in here? See Blair in here. I ain't seen Blair in a minute. What's good, Blair? Oh, I had some questions on Instagram I needed to address. Let's see. I feel like my Wi-Fi is finally stabilized, which I'm eternally grateful for. Just tell him I'm answering this question live right now. All right, this is from my boy Xavier. Xavier says, "What's up, man? I just booked finance as my job in the Air Force, and I've been watching your YouTube videos. What should I study to prepare for tech school? I want to be ahead of the game." There is absolutely nothing you can do to prepare for a career in Air Force finance. Nothing. The systems are foreign to you. The terminology is foreign to you. The only thing that we might use that also is used in the civilian world is Microsoft Excel. Obviously, Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint. That's about it. So I guess my answer is wrong. Those, you can study those things. You can study how to use those. Learn how to use Excel sheets and pivot tables and what have you. How to manipulate the data. But that's about it. That's about it. Air Force finance, and I've made multiple videos on this. It's different. It's not the same. We're managing money, but not physical dollars. Unless you work in the cage, you're a cashier, paying agent, you're not dealing with physical money. You're dealing with documents, commitment documents, obligation documents. You're not touching actual money. You're not managing actual money in the sense of, hey, I buy this, how much I got left. It's not that cut and dry, even though it is seemingly the same process. There's not much you can do in regards to military finance, mainly because it's you have to be in it to know. It's like, how do I train to be special forces? You go to special forces training. How do I train to be a finance technician in the Air Force? You go to a finance tech school, or you go through the CDCs, you go through online schooling at your base while you work in that office, and you listen to terminology, you actually deal with the issues, you get something on your desk, how do I fix this? And you try to fix it in that real time, you ask people around you, but it's immersion in a sense where you have to be there to learn it. So I definitely notice that the zeal, and you want to get ahead of the game, you want to be ahead of your peers, but it's just, unfortunately, it's not that type of world you're entering. It's not like going to college where you can study psychology and then go to school and learn psychology. You're learning something that's it's proprietary. It's military only. So it's unfortunate, but that's the truth of the system that you're entering. So hope that answers your question. Got another question by Andrew. Let me hit him up real quick. He says, "Hey Raymond, I watched YouTube and wanted some advice on joining the Air Force. I wanted to join the Air National Guard and was just wondering what career you are in and what you think about it. I am in finance, Air Force finance, 6F071 at this current place in my life. What I think about it, I'll answer that in a second. Also, the advice you can give on being in a career that's hands-on, actually being in armor, and that looks cool in a sense, perhaps special warfare or security forces. Also, the careers that you think you would enjoy more and being able to travel." So my thoughts on Air Force finance is I don't like it. I don't like it for the reasons that many people in the third world country would probably scoff at. What people in security forces and special operations would just look, what are you complaining about? You have too much air conditioning? Woe is you. Your coffee is too perfect. Your Spotify is streaming perfectly. Oh. I don't like it. I don't like sitting at a desk. I also don't want to be in the mountains, which is why I need to get out of the military. I don't like what I'm doing in my current career field. I don't like how complex such simple things are. I'm like, it takes 24 hours to send money. I can send anyone money right now. Anybody can send me money right now. It takes 0 seconds. It takes 24 hours at least to buy stuff. It's just complex for no reason. I'm like, I hate it. I hate it. I hate this. We use paper. We have fax machines. I'm like, what year are we in? We have customers that walk in person to do stuff. I haven't been in a Navy. I don't think there's a Navy Federal in my state. I think the nearest USAA is, I think, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, like 3 hours away. I don't walk in person to handle my most important part of my life, my money. I don't have to go to the store. I can go to Amazon. But meanwhile, you go to a military base and you're like, we're going to have IMs, emails, phones, and a walk-in lobby. Why do we have all of them? Oh, because we have to let the customer have every advantage. Well, what about the people that have to actually do the work? Wouldn't there be, if we did our job better, wouldn't there be less customers having issues with their pay? Which problem should we solve first? Prevention, and no customers have to come in because their pay is properly accounted for? Or we just give them all these pay issues, but then we give them 10,000 ways to contact us? That type of logic seems to escape military personnel. Whoever's in charge of these processes deems doesn't work. It's constantly an issue. DTS, it's constantly an issue. Compliance tool, don't get me to DMM, and it's constantly an issue. It's something wrong, something broken. Oh, the systems are down. What does that mean? Is Facebook down? Instagram down? Is Amazon down? Is Xbox Live down? No. But yet, the military, we're just jumping through hoops trying to get a system that works every time, consistently, with no exceptions. It's crazy. Our computers are slow. At least the ones I've worked with, my short little 5 years, they're all slow. I'm like, how is it I can't find a fast computer in my Air Force career? They're all slow. All of them. Stop giving me 2 and 4 gigs of RAM. I need at least 16 to 32 gigs of RAM to properly do my job in the Air Force. And yet I have 4 to 8. And the 8, I'll be lucky to get 8. Be lucky. It's just the system I'm in. And so you finally get to a point where, like, you're not going to change the system. I'm not going to change anything. Nothing I do here is gonna change after I'm gone. So my only legacy will be these YouTube videos I make, that I try to be objective. I try to help people, and I'm like, this is what you try to avoid that mistake. You definitely want to ask this question. Talk to that person over there. That's my legacy. But as far as the actual hardware, the software, they won't even know I was here. And it's unfortunate. You would think all these people with hands-on experience might have some feedback. You might want to listen to them instead of just creating new software. Let's make a new website, Advana, for Dark-Q. For what? What was wrong with FM Suite? What was wrong with it? We made a new one. So yeah, I dislike finance with a heaviness, and I might be biased. I might be, but yeah, no. I plan on exiting that career field as soon as possible. And another part of your question. Also, the advice you can give on being in a career field that's hands-on and actually being an army. So the talk of cool career fields, it's an abomination. It's unfortunate that nobody's corrected it yet. I guess I'll be the person to do so. We must not choose any career fields based off how cool it looks. Even if you're just saying that as, like, you know, just a Freudian slip. No. There are tons of jobs that look cool. And you're like, that would be so cool if I did that. I want to drive a tank. I want to be a sniper. I want to jump out of planes. I want to rappel backwards down a wall. It looks cool, but it's not a video game. Most people don't realize that the training to even get close to the operational side, it's like years. To be a PJ, Navy SEAL, you're talking about years. To be a Ranger, to a Green Beret, you're talking about years of training before you even get to front lines. Years of training. Most people don't make it through the first couple phases where they're just, bro, just do push-ups. I'll be back. I'm going to the store. Do push-ups until I get back. They're trying to get rid of you. They're literally trying to get rid of the people that thought it was cool. I'm gonna come here and it's gonna be. I'm gonna get my parachute and I'm gonna get my M16, but I'm gonna have two dual-wheeled M9s and I'm just gonna upgrade them and get the scope and the troops and I'm just gonna the troops. No, you won't probably make it through the first couple phases. That is meant to weed you out because you thought it was cool and it's no. Those career fields, I would dare to say, are callings, and some people get trapped, and they get trapped in the system, and they excel because they're good at it. I'm good with numbers. I don't like numbers. I don't like them, and it's weird because I tend to be a binary thinker, but I don't like dealing with numbers. I want to carry the one. I don't want to. I don't want to carry the one. Leave me alone. I don't want to carry it. Yeah, don't choose any job based off how cool it looks. Most likely it's going to be the job with the most hours, the most training, and the most on the line, the most risk. So I definitely wouldn't do that. Your last part of your question, the careers that you think you would enjoy more and be able to travel. So being that I'm getting out, I don't really care much for like any other job because I know the truth that they're all just jobs in a sense. They're all just jobs, but jobs that do have me intrigued that I wish I would have had a chance to do. Religious affairs, something I definitely wanted to possibly get my feet wet in. Load master, flight attendant, mental health. There are many jobs that I thought I will be good at that job, but at the end of the day, it's still a job. And so part of me just wants to pursue something that I can build up myself and benefit from directly and gain fulfillment from, which of course you can find those in the Air Force. Unfortunately, you don't get to choose your job. You don't. You can try. You can apply. You can ask. But you don't get to choose your job. So I finally get to a point where I'm like, I need to leave this environment because it's no longer serving me. I just have a bunch of wish lists, a bunch of asks, begging just to get close, and they say no. So I'm like, yeah, it's time for me to go. I can't change the environment. Time to go. So hope that answers your question. I know I might be on a little pessimist, negative tilt. But it's necessary. Some people just need to hear someone be angry about something because most often you don't hear the negative sides of things. You don't hear the angry side, the people that are just upset about where they are. Sometimes you need to hear that as the warning, and then you're like, well, he just needs to do this, and you may not have the flaws that I have. So, hope that helps. Who we got in this chat? Cameron Dorr asks, what does a financial management officer do in the Air Force? The same as everyone else, but mostly from a higher up standpoint. So you have people on the ground with their guns. Pew, pew, pew. You got people in the tree stand. Pew, pew, pew. You got people in the helicopter. Pew, pew, pew. You got people way across the world in the Pentagon watching everything from a satellite on a TV, big screen. Officers tend to be further away from the action in terms of less hands-on, more management of people with hands-on. So officers are almost always put in position of leadership unless you're just growing through the ranks, you're getting coffee for some general, you're exec or something. But even those are positions of leadership because you have to learn how to manage people. You have to talk to people. You have to deal with people and listen to people. So the most general answer is that you're managing people while they do finance, but you're also managing the direction of these people and their orders and why the decisions they make are based off your decisions that you're making from your vantage point. And then, of course, you work for somebody as well. Everybody works for somebody. The hierarchy never ends. It ends at the president, but even the president works for the people. And then it has the cabinet and the checks and balances and legislative branch, judicial branch. There's checks and balances everywhere where it means everyone is answering to someone. So as an officer, you're always answering to someone above you. But from your vantage point, you manage people below you. So I hope that helps. Got my boy in the chat, my boy Ty, man. I see you, man. Shout out Angel. I see you, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Raymond. I see you. Here's an interesting point. Black Ops says keeping peace does work. It's just the person you're dealing with and the programming that females feel entitled and can act out or do whatever. I'm inclined to agree to a point. I'm very slow to blame an entire demographic. I'm very slow to do that, mainly because I fall into the demographic as well. And so if they blame my entire demographic, then I guess I am toxic, and I guess I am a horrible person. So, now, in regards to your actual point, I agree that there's a level of entitlement that most people enter a relationship with. It's going to kill the relationship immediately. And by immediately, I mean relative to death to us part. Immediately is anywhere from a day to death. Meaning, entitlement, as long as it's there and it's not gratitude, it's going to kill the relationship. I dealt with that constantly. Don't assume that a relationship with me is guaranteed. Today, tomorrow, the next moment, next 5 minutes. I even had entitlement that I'm allowed to stay here, and I don't need to grow. I don't need to change. I don't need to improve. Entitlement, it's best determined by the other person. Kind of like accountability. It's best to be accountable to someone else. It's best to let someone else define cheating. Let someone else define toxic. Let someone else define entitlement. Now, of course, the definition needs to be relevant, but at times you'll come across it quite often. And I like the last part you mentioned, as far as the belief that people can act out and do whatever, and people are just supposed to take it because long suffering, because of patience, because of virtue. I was that person. And I was on the other end as well, because I acted out as well. I'm definitely not here to woe is me. No. But accountability is imperative. It's so necessary. And you realize I don't know how people get in relationships and they stay in relationships without accountability on both ends. I'm not doing it. I promise you. Great comment. Shout out Rooney Tunes. I see you. Appreciate you. Let's see if we got any questions down here. FSM asks, I just got my 3 level and I'm at my first duty station for IQT. You know how long I can try to switch from active to guard or reserve? I'm on a 4-year and I'm already over active duty. Most likely it's probably going to be over half of your contract before you have the option or even the qualifications, if you will, to go to guard or reserve. You're probably going to do over half of your contract. Luckily, you signed a 4-year, so over 2 years, that's going to fly by. So, yeah, that's probably my best answer for that. You probably have to do over half your contract, and then, of course, it still has to be approved, not only by your commander, but APC, which is the issue I ran into, is that just didn't get approved. So, hope that helps. So yeah, that's the stream. I don't really have much else. If you have any questions, last second questions or comments, throw in a super chat. I noticed doing these live streams, you just feel the pressure relief, because sometimes you just think about things too long. You need to get it out. You need to get it out. Quick note on anxiety. Like I said, I had a phone call with my boy yesterday, and he mentioned how he had 2 panic attacks in a week. And nothing's wrong. Nothing's on fire. Nothing's alarming. Nothing's due. It's just pain, distress. You're like, why am I feeling anxiety if nothing is wrong? It happens. It happens. There's a level of proactivity that's required to stave off anxiety. And I'm in no position to be the expert on this or to preach about being proactive. But I do have experience with anxiety. Coming up on a year now. Actually, this month, it's been a year of dealing with anxiety. It doesn't go away on its own. It doesn't solve itself. It will not. If you're dealing with anxiety, you're going to have to enact some type of action. I'm about to take my pill, my Zoloft before I go to bed. Something has to be done. And it may not be the solution you want. And of course, there's a lifestyle component that goes into dealing with anxiety. I'm not saying that it's going to be the causal factor, but in regards to correcting and course correcting and fixing it, there's a lifestyle component. But there also might be a medicative component. There might be a therapeutic component where you might have to I need to go talk to somebody. You'd be amazed how better you feel when you just get out and talk. Get it out. Find that one person that you know you can say anything to, and it's not going to be on Fox News, not going to be on CNN the next day. Who is that person that you can go talk to and just say whatever you need to say? Just get it out. Get it out. You can't do it with everyone. You can't do it with everyone. But you need at least one person that you can say anything you want in the world to, and you know you can trust them. It's sacred. It's sacred. It's intimate. Friendship, there's nothing like it. I can count on one hand how many true best friends I have. They're all tied for first. All for different reasons. But it's imperative. It's imperative that you find somebody that you can confide in. I'll go into my checklist real quick on what I do to track my anxiety and to track whether or not I'm doing my part. If I'm doing my part, because there's a part to play in your own healing, in your own progression. One thing be fitness. Fitness is going to be imperative that you're lifting some type of weights, especially for men. You need to feel something heavy. You need to feel something heavy on your nervous system. It's very hard to be stressed and worried and on edge after you're squatting 400 pounds. 405, it's something about 405 that you can't, I don't have the energy to be angry, to be on edge, to be upset, to be worried. I'm tired. 400 pounds seems to, 315, it's right there. I throw 225 on the bench and I just pause reps. And somehow 225 just mellows you out. Something about weights. Hydration. It's slept on heavily. Most people just think, I'm just going to drink water. You need water, but you also need electrolytes. You need sodium. You need potassium and magnesium. And of course, there's a ton of other elements that you might include. But it's imperative that when you're hydrating, you also get those three elements as well to be hydrated properly. Not just drinking a ton of water. Distilled water is not going to do anything for you. Distilled water is not going to do anything for your body. It might probably hurt you. But yeah, you need to be hydrated. Hydration. Obviously, water is in all of your muscles. It's in all your cells. It's the basic building block. If you don't have water, if you're dehydrated, of course nothing's going to function properly, including your mind, including your stomach, your eating. Again, I'm the last person that should be preaching on what you're eating. Fasting. Sometimes fasting is the answer. Just less. No food. Fasting, no food, carnivore, keto, Atkins. There's a diet for everyone. Vegan. There's a diet for everyone. Pick one. But we all know what we shouldn't eat, which is kind of the point of when I say check your eating, is you know what you shouldn't be eating. You may not know exactly what you should be eating, but you know what's on that list of ice cream probably didn't make the cut. Chili cheese dogs with extra Parmesan, that's probably not it. Yogurt, look at the sugar, 64 grams. All right, that's probably not it. Sugar just it inflames your body. It's not benefiting. It's a poison. It's like fructose. It goes straight to your liver. It's like alcohol. It's not serving you. So those couple things. Your sleep, if you're getting less than 6 hours a night, you're probably not resting. You want to be reaching for that REM cycle as close as you can. I know REM cycle is pretty hard to achieve. You need perfect conditions to get REM cycle. And I'm the last person to say, all right, we're gonna take all these different pills and melatonin and chase it all down with alcohol and sleep. No, you probably won't wake up. But planning the time you go to sleep. I don't have a TV, so it's kind of hard to have a TV on all night if I don't have one. I watch TV on my phone if I want to, but my phone's gonna cut off at some point. And so it's hard to be disturbed by a phone that's sleep. It's off. So yeah, my goal is to get around 7.5 hours. It's difficult, but it's possible. And it's probable if you make an effort. So yeah, sleep. Getting your hormones checked. Your testosterone, especially for men. Getting your testosterone checked. Go get a blood test. There's plenty of programs that you can sign up for online, and you can send your blood in. I don't recommend it sending your blood, your DNA to the internet. They already have it probably. But obviously if you're in the military, yeah, go get a checkup. When's the last time you had a checkup? You know, all this talk of prostate cancer, all these different things that, you know, I don't want a colonoscopy. There's nothing to see up there or around there, or I don't need you looking in those crevices. When's the last time you had a checkup? Get a checkup. There are a lot of things that we can proactively do that might stave off what we're dealing with. But if we just have all this chaos in our life, of course things is going crazy. Like, of course you can't find peace. Of course. You should check your music. Hip hop is probably not the most peaceful genre to constantly fill your head with. Bro, I got that chopper in the whip, bro. I'm about to slide. No lagging. Old girl coming through. Got that slop. That's not very peaceful. It's not serving you. R&B is probably not serving you. Pop, it may or may not be, depending on the artist, depending on the lyrics. Binaural beats, I love it. The sound of the ocean, the best song ever made. The sound of wind, the sound of rain, the sound of leaves, white noise, dark noise. ASMR. It's crazy how just switching the genre. Hip hop. I don't need Lil Wayne. I don't need Meek. I don't need Dirk. X. I'm like, these boys is on 10. The Baby, Lil Baby, Gunna. I don't need that at 7 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 p.m. is too much. Hip hop should be reserved for the gym only. That's it. You don't need to listen to it when you're drunk. Nope. Alcohol is probably a big one as well, as far as anxiety is concerned. Put it up. There are better options in regards to natural sedatives. Put it up. It's not serving you. It's a poison. It goes straight to your liver. Your liver's job is to secrete and get rid of poison. That's it. It's getting rid of poison. That's why fructose goes there. That's why alcohol goes there. If you eat anything that's poisonous to your person, it goes to your liver. That's why you get fatty livers. Type 2 diabetes, the correlation and the causation is there. Relationships. I've talked about this heavily. Anxiety might be a sign that you're doing the job of two people. It might be a sign that you're doing the job of two people. You might just need to talk. You might need a hug. You might be socially malnourished, if I might coin that term. Socially malnourished, emotionally malnourished, spiritually malnourished. You need people. You need people. Everyone isn't toxic. I'm so sick of hearing the term constantly thrown. Just guard your peace. Guard your peace. Cool, but I'm sure you're probably disturbing somebody as well. Everyone's not the enemy. There's some people you need, and you probably don't like them. You might not need them. You might not enjoy them, but they might have what you need. Imagine that. The person you dislike and you refuse to socialize with them, you refuse to engage with them, but they have the vaccine that would save your life. They have the antidote. They have exactly what you are in need of, but your pride, your emotions is keeping you from getting what you need. I don't think that's a coincidence that usually what we need is hidden in people we don't enjoy. I think there's something to that. Sometimes talking is exactly what you need to solve your issue. And it may not solve it. It might just bring light to it. It might just help you see it in a different light because you let someone else look at it as well. Anxiety is a beast. Preaching to the choir. Someone who deals with it on a daily. Anxiety is a beast. It doesn't go away by itself. It doesn't solve itself. If you ignore it, it doesn't just go away. It stays until it's addressed. Pain isn't the enemy. It's a sign you have one. The check engine light, it's not your enemy. It's a sign that something's off. Something's not working properly. It's trying to help you. It's there intentionally. Hope that helps. I'm going to bed. It's almost 8 o'clock. It's past my bedtime. And I can't get my 7.5 hours of sleep if I'm up. Appreciate everybody watching, everybody coming through. I appreciate the support on this channel. Say what's good to your boy. I will see you on the next video.